Hello there everyone and welcome back. My attempt back at Chaos has not gone the best as I would like to think, but considering we were fighting against level 10 fleets entirely, I want to say there was promise. Because I feel like the main thing that screwed me over with the battle against Blue's Orcs was more than likely just not having camo available, which doubled the duration of my Salt run. But there was still that awkward predicament where my devastation was still getting spotted for some weird reason, so that's another glitch I'm going to have to figure out if I'm going to try and manage getting screwed over by that consistently. But nonetheless, I am a little bit short on renown now for having everything getting completely destroyed, at least in the Space Marine battle, and even then I feel like that was just not prioritizing my targets very well. Because if I was able to shoot the strike cruiser really early on and not the vanguards, or even shoot at the battle barge right away, then that could have gone a little bit differently. Because at the end of the day, the only real thing the vanguards are contributing is probably their boarding torpedoes, and maybe a couple lucky critical hits if they get close enough for boarding assaults. But otherwise, they're not really all that potent with their macro batteries. So we're gonna try and improve our game a bit there, although I'm going to have to play very conservatively there, I think, because if I lose a handful of more ships, then I'm going to be forced to have at least an awkward setup there. I don't think it's like a terrible setup with the slaughter and the despoiler, mind you. It's just a matter of the upgrades, because again, the despoiler does not have any enhancements to its lances just yet. It's more focused on the close range burst potential with the bombers and the armor-piercing rounds, so it's not quite suited even for that just yet because it's missing the key component of what I would argue is Nurgle. The consistent damage, it basically adds an extra weapon onto it there that completely ignores armor, so there's amazing value in that, and never mind the fact that it makes it hard for it to get boarded and suffer those critical hits at such close range too. But nonetheless, let's try and continue on, shall we? Alright, so maybe we get something a little bit different here. At the same time though, I don't have my dual Acrons to serve as like my main, my main spearhead, what I need for this kind of composition if I want to go that route, so we're going to have to try things a little bit different. And I can't for the life of me remember what the Imperial Navy fleet composition is, but I suppose this arguably is a good opportunity for this spoiler. It is not really equipped though for a level 10 fleet, I want to argue, because it's not going to get away as size 4 or maybe a micro warp jump. I don't have auger disruptors to kind of assure it can safely get away. So it's really hard to guess. The lack of Nurgle is what's really going to hurt me here. I have the bombers, I have the means at least, but this is not an optimal type of fleet. With that said, it's a good opportunity to get the experience though, if nothing else, if I had to guess. We're going to have to try. I could still throw in the Akron, it's still going to be a weird mismatch of a fleet though, with that said. And I don't even have enough points for a frigate either. If they can survive though, that's probably all I could really ask for here. And I could get a devastation, more lances I suppose. And that doesn't help with my point problem, but again, it doesn't really matter if I can't feel a frigate regardless, so let's give this a try. Bit more awkward than it has to be, but since I'm kind of tight on renown, it's not like I could let the fleet get destroyed and easily repair it. So we're gonna have to play it by ear and see what we can do. And at least it'll be nice to put the spoiler out and get some use out of it, but it is not equipped for this. It's gonna get run down and heavily outgunned. It does have the armor-piercing weaponry, so it shouldn't be too bad once it's on the broadside, but I'm going to be taking more damage than I am dealing out. Unless the bombers can do a notable amount of damage, there is a possibility of that at least, so maybe I might consider wanting to reload with this if a brace for impact is not ideal. We'll see what happens. And where we want to deploy at? Probably a gas cloud here, maybe more towards the middle, because that's going to be the prime spot for fighting and engaging, so let's see if we can improve on that. That was a mess, the first match for me, so I apologize for that crappy display. Again, I do feel like the first exchange did work in my favor some, but I'm not happy with things getting thrown off because of my damn keyboard, so hopefully I'll cooperate. Hopefully. Might be something with the wiring. I don't know why it would flicker on and off consistently though, and then miraculously want to work at the end of that match. But we'll try and do what we can. Not like a Chaos Mirror match would have been all that exciting anyway, because it is a lot of just playing hide and seek with the other opponent, quite frankly, and see who's better at revealing the other. which could have still worked out well for me if it's because that's kind of like the most important factor in a Chaos Mirror match. So if I could have revealed them, did a good amount of damage, especially on the cruisers, mind you. Revealing the Hellbringers probably were not as exciting as it could be. And I do have fighters that deal with the torpedoes really well.
For the dark gods.
I don't want to be stuck in a position where I have to wait on the despoiler. I kind of want the despoiler to kind of serve as the bait, and with its range, it can still do well. It at least still has that going for it. So more torpedoes.
Engines hot.
Let's see. I do have fighters there. I'll take a tiny bit of asteroid damage.
For the ruinous powers.
So, let's dodge these torpedoes. Hope my fighters do what they need to. There, that works out nicely. So,
we are unstoppable.
Let's try and evade these some. My despoiler's not going to be a good spot there, and he's more than likely got a Widowmaker too, which is going to negate a lot of my cloak and dagger type of tactics there, but we'll know in a moment because I am getting close to detection anyway. So let's turn, let's dodge, get this despoiler out ready, and keep an eye on my combustion gauge. That's going to be important. So far I'm not getting detected, so I guess that's a plus. We will see. In 5 ships, what does that tell me? Oh, was that me ramming myself? Yeah, it was me ramming myself. Good God. That is unfortunate. Just barely in vision of each other.
We'll follow your command for now.
So I guess that answers my question there. There is a Widowmaker in the pack, and it just spotted me. And with what, half my shield's already gone, that's probably a good indication of overlords. So is there a way I could kill the Widowmaker? I could probably start shooting at it, but with a lack of 2 Acrons, not a lot I could do about that. I am at a huge disadvantage, but so long as I can start shooting them, I'm in good shape, I suppose. I'll take lance hits any day, but main thing I need to be mindful of is overreaction, possibly. Yeah, let's see, he's already turning around, so I get good hits there. I could have done a I could have locked on. Maybe that was a good idea. And did I get the... Oh no, I didn't get there. For a moment I thought I killed it.
Switch to silent run.
But we are getting damage on the Overlord. I am moving this thing forward. Sadly, I'm not quite in range just yet of the despoiler doing the damage he needs to. But he is kind of wedging himself into that gas cloud, which I can force him out a little bit with some good beacons. And I do have 4 fighter squadrons. Let's keep that in mind. That could still be useful here as far as dealing with like heavy torpedoes, but let's keep on moving forward. Let the shields recharge, and gotta keep in mind that's my beacon that's currently in place there. And I'm gonna have to trust these torpedoes to kind of do the work for me. Hell, these torpedoes aren't even gonna hit me. It's just gonna delay my fighter some. So I want to get as far forward with the beacon as possible. So let's try and do damage.
Ready eternally.
And try, if possible, to kill the Widowmaker. Not likely to happen, though.
For the dark gods. Return to normal function. Just show us something to kill.
So we Auger Disruptor's one of them, that's all I know.
Tactical cogitators engaged.
And since he's Micro Warp jumping back,
Come on, me.
I can disengage and do some damage here. We'll see what happens. Oh, that is a bit unfortunate. I'm going to hit myself there. And sadly, probably not going to be a good position there for my... oh, it's not actually a level 10 fleet. I don't know if I should count my blessings or not, but let's dodge these macro cannons the best we can. Since I can do that relatively well, the Widowmaker's gone, but now I got to be able to disengage effectively. And let's get some reloads going. This is going to help a ton for my bombers. And that's the one that I Auger Disrupted, so... So I do have armor-piercing rounds, so that's good in that regard. I just gotta make sure I do the damage needed. And shooting at what has brace for impact probably is not a good idea, with that said. Because like I said, this thing's gonna die quickly. I already predicted that as much, especially with him having armor-piercing rounds as well. But if I can get by here, maybe I'm okay.
We have sighted an enemy ship.
We'll see if that thing can survive for now.
Adjusting rotation.
Come on, do I have devastation bombers?
Something to kill.
And that was bad stasis bomb placement, I'm not gonna lie. Come on, get moving.
Tactical cogitators engaged.
Maybe I could still kill this thing, but I think the bombers need to do work. They need to do the work needed for that.
For the ruinous powers.
So
For
bombers,
the dark gods.
I'm hoping this thing can survive. It's a bad spot for it, I'm not gonna lie though, but that's kind of the caveat when I use the micro warp jump. It's not gonna be able to warp out safely, let alone easily.
Tremble, for chaos comes. Just show us something to kill.
So can we take only one torpedo? Okay, we take 2 torpedoes, and I'm not getting very good focus here.
Return to normal function.
But we do get an auger disruptor, which helps, but not enough for the boarding.
For the dark gods.
And I do have bombers, which probably are not going to help very much,
Your orders.
especially with these
Moving to those
cruisers in the
coordinates.
way.
Tear them apart.
Can I finish off these cruisers? It could still go well for me, unlikely, but it could still go well for me, somehow.
For we strike
And this cruiser is about to die. I am messing up with my control quite horribly still.
unstoppable.
But keep finishing off, keep hitting this thing, because its shields are a bit of an annoyance, but those bombers are about to finish it, right?
Ready eternally.
No, of course, the bombers don't kill it. That's no surprise.
We'll follow your command for now.
I do get first blood, if nothing else, so I guess that's a victory there in that regard.
For the ruinous powers.
Now, let's just get past him, hopefully avoid a ram. No, he's gonna ram me.
Engines hot.
It could survive, it still has the fighters. What do I prioritize bombers on with that said?
Just show us
Come on,
something to
fighters,
kill.
do your thing. I probably should warp out this,
For chaos
because yeah, I don't have the health anyway.
Brace.
I might as well warp out, let's preserve these fleets. It was
Charging
close
warp
there,
engines.
it's not very optimal either. And again, well, we saw how much damage this spoiler was taking. It was a ridiculous amount of damage.
Ready eternally.
It's not quite ready to deal with that close range
Return to
engagement.
the war.
But it was looking promising though. The kamikaze run, and maybe I should have just did a hard disengage with the spoiler rather than having to try fly back in there, try to keep its prow facing him. Hard to say. Hard to really say. Because again, I feel like that was a really awkward fleet composition for me there. The bombers did do damage eventually, but it didn't seem like it was enough damage. It didn't seem like enough damage anyway. I wasn't really paying attention, mind you, so hard to say what could have done better there. And besides, the spoiler's like the worst ship to be constantly running away there. But the auger disruptors are pretty damn useful there, because again, we saw no beacons. He was relying heavily on the Widowmaker. So, if I had a second Acheron there, that could have been immense for me. Never mind the fact that I would have had so much long-range firepower potential. He would not have been able to see me for about 50 seconds, roughly. But the fleet survives intact. It's just all heavily damaged, well, really, just the devastation is, so I can kind of live with that. Still an awkward exchange, though. Alright, so we're doing ourselves a Chaos Mirror match here. And I had one recently, yes, the other time with my attempt with Boss there, and unfortunately that ended up in disaster with my keyboard kind of breaking on me, so ultimately though, it's going to be a game of cat and mouse, I want to argue. It's going to be spending a lot of time just trying to avoid each other. At least trying to avoid being detected from each other there, because as soon as one of us gets a beacon stuck on the other, it's going to end in disaster, I believe. Unless you're really good about keeping your ship way back and out of harm's way, which is going to be tricky if extended lances are going to be a thing for both of us. So, more often than not, the ship, when it gets a beacon on, is probably just going to be completely out of the fight, aside from maybe throwing an occasional beacon or two to help provide support. But otherwise, it's going to be tricky for it to actually do damage. if it's going to be so far back. Nonetheless, this has kind of been my favorite type of matchup when I played as Chaos before. There's very real tension in this type of matchup, this mirror match no less, because of the need to stick to beacons, especially on like the Acheron, since they are after all like the most potent and least of the Lance Cruisers. Since it has 3 stacks of these turrets or Lance batteries, when you consider the 2 turrets on top, which considering the devastation, the 2 Hellbringers, it's kind of like just as powerful as all 3 of these together, and that's just a single Acheron. Mind you, it is really easy to kind of overlook the macro cans, but they are still notable as well, especially 10 damage per shot on the missile pods, which also have a bit of a tracking element to it, so it's really hard to dodge them. Kind of like how I mentioned before with my, the Kroot Warspear when I was playing as Tau, but I'm excited to see how this goes. It seems like the fleet composition is the exact same, mind you. It's looking that way. It remains to be seen how this is going to play out, but with him not moving, this kind of benefits me. But let's hopefully have ourselves a real match out of this. I don't want him to be kind of going AFK or concede on me right away. You would think not. Ooh. This works well for me. It's really tenuous because I have to make sure I'm not split up or spread out, but the fact he's all carries is kind of really damn good for me. And he just launched beacons too, so where are they at? Because this devastation and my ships in close formation should be really damn good at avoiding those bombers. At least shoot them down effectively, and then they're going to be very minimal damage, and worst case, I also have camo now on this devastation, so being able to avoid the bombers entirely with a single button that's now actually it's gonna have like about a minute and a half of like salt run, so that's gonna be amazing in that regard, so long as I don't get stuck by a beacon, of course. That's the main caveat there. The beacon's gonna kind of enable so much aggression potential, but already I'm feeling really confident about this matchup here. He has to kind of get super aggressive if he wants those bombs to reliably hit. Or at least have me in 7,500, at least within sensor range to effectively hit me. Now, let me just keep an eye on my lance range, because I want to make sure I actually shoot him when I throw a beacon out. Because it would be kind of a waste to be firing a beacon and not getting any value out of it. Like this one right here. That is without a doubt a Hellbringer, but not quite in range to stick a beacon, so... But this will still hurt, and it is a level 10 fleet, interestingly enough. And that thing is dying relatively quickly. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to get in close and try... I already launched the beacon, so who am I kidding? Let's just destroy the deck and hopefully kill one of his siege salt run options, if nothing else. And I think, as silly as it sounds, I think I commit kamikaze, sort of, and just relentlessly go in there and detect it. If my autocast will actually want to work. Thank you. I don't know if that was lengthy or what, but I wasn't seeing the ping or indicator that was being revealed that it was on autocast. So let's get out of vision quickly. This is gonna hurt some, but without him having beacons, this might still be good for me. Okay, we're out of range there. We dodged the stasis bomb. And what the hell is that?
Just show us something to kill.
I am really confused right now with what's going on. This is like the opposite of my salt run issue I had with my devastation last video. So I don't have a clue what to make of that. But I still have 3 beacons, I still have stasis bombs, and everything's being revealed for me too, so that's convenient.
We'll follow your command for now.
And what on earth am I hitting right now? Because, yeah, I'm hitting something, I'm just not sure what I'm hitting. Which is really baffling me right now. And he's micro warp jumping, he's evading. So I guess we try, with so much damage, I suppose I try and get aggressive here. Because he's already got that running.
Ready eternally.
The only thing I could think of that may be latency, because without a doubt, with a beacon on that Hellbringer and him flying through everything, I think it's safe to say I revealed everything. I just honestly could not see anything at all to really know for certain. Nope. Let's see, can I at least deny this at all? Let's see. I'm waiting for the supercharged voice shield to end, because I have autocast beacons on. Just one salvo's all I need. Just shoot it. There. Beacon stuck.
We've sighted an enemy ship.
Now we just gotta keep on doing damage. I do have my own silent run, keep in mind, so that's gonna help in this regard too.
Setting course.
And I have 2 beacons left, or actually I have 1 beacon left, but I stuck it on 2 targets, so that should still be good. I'm getting a lot of damage, and he's flying to an asteroid belt now. He doesn't have the upgrade to kind of mitigate that, so let's try and put the pressure on him.
We'll follow your command. For now.
Because I am still getting hits even with these ships shielding for him. And his bombers can't do crap. This is part of the reason why the bombers are not really... Well, to be fair, he had an opportunity to stick a beacon, so I'm going to assume maybe he didn't have a beacon. Aww. That's a shame. Well, you kind of need vision there if you're going to be using the long range, and honestly, this doesn't work very well for him regardless. If he wants to go super with the ridiculous with the bombs, he kind of needs to be getting aggressive on me, I argue. Because, was it? I have my devastation, or I did have my devastation. I may have forgotten to launch my fighters, mind you, but...
Your orders.
Oh my. That's a shame. I don't honestly like bombers in general, if I were to be perfectly honest, because, again, there's so many means to just deny them so easily. Like, especially with Chaos because of the camo alone. A single ship, if he can't stick his own beacons on me, just hard counters any potential bomber plays he can do, unless he wants to get aggressive with me. And you know what's sad about him trying to get aggressive and having no beacons? I have 2 auger disruptors. He cannot do crap to me if he's going to rely on those bombers, so he may insult the beacons all he wants there, but they are kind of essential. Unfortunately, they are essential for almost any fleet there. Maybe to an extent orcs even need it too, but that depends what kind of weapons you're utilizing. If you're going with like tractor cannons and not relying on your micro warp jump and extended sensors to get vision to kind of pull them forward, then you kind of need something to hit them with the sap cannons at range. Otherwise you're not going to get that slow that you're investing upgrades in. Then you're not going to be penetrating the hull like you want, as far as ignoring the shields. At least with the orc variant, that's torpedoes and lances, mind you. But honestly, again, I feel like you need to be a lot more aggressive with the bombers because of how easy it is to ignore them. They take so long to fly to you. You can just easily turn the ship behind everything else, keep tight formation, and again, silent run. Which, even if I didn't have beacons, it's already set, as I said. Even if I didn't already have beacons, that just encourages more auger disruptors for me. For my devastation, maybe for my hellbringers, it changes nothing. It honestly changes nothing when you consider the like 90 seconds I have on just this siege silent run. I'm losing my train of thought, damn it. But I think my message is clear. Alright, looks like we're going to get ourselves a bit of a rematch here. We'll see if he's going to rage at us or not, or just immediately concede. It remains to be seen. But nonetheless, I think if he's going to be going all fighters, I have an easy time here. It does encourage me to use the spoiler to kind of more hard counter that for the space station assault, although I kind of wish I had the extended lances, but you know that's just going to encourage more rage, just sitting outside of the 12,000 sensor range of the dang station. It is way too tempting to just go with the Acrons. So with that said, maybe I go 2 devastations to kind of alleviate, or at least help in that regard some, because they all have extended lances. It gives me more stasis bombs to kind of thwart any aggressive push. So this may not be very interesting. It may not be very interesting at all, because, like I said before, his aggressive play without using any forms of beacons is not going to help him very much. Mind you, with only 2 auger disruptors, he could kind of still brute force it to an extent, since I'm only going to have like 50 seconds worth of jamming, and then I'm going to have to wait another minute and 10 seconds roughly for me to actually be able to jam again. So he could still do damage in that time, and if he's diligent enough to hang on to those bombers, well, even then, his bombers will refresh by the time both my auger disruptors are down, assuming I timed them perfectly, of course. So he could do ridiculous burst damage if I'm not on top of my devastations, kind of like to shoot those down. And I have the range on everything. This is a pretty simplistic strategy. I'm not gonna lie. I just ideally sit outside the sensor range and force him to come to me. It's the most boring strategy, I'm not gonna lie. At least one I'm not happy about utilizing, which is why I was kind of tempted, or mentioned before how I would like to try something a little more aggressive with maybe macro cannons and close range bombers, mind you. Although, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon when I don't have the renown to afford all that. Never mind replacing any potential favors I may want to change out too. Because that would be a situation to encourage Nurgle if nothing else for that like additional weapon. But this is probably not going to be pretty. And sadly I've been having a difficult time getting cues aside for at least this video after my introduction. So we're slowly getting to the point where getting matches outside the weekend might be unlikely for me. So we're gonna have to try mixing things up a little bit. I'm just sad I didn't get to show off the battles against boss there. It's a shame the keyboard had to break on me because that had some real good potential, at least the Chaos Mirror match. Because I still feel like that's my favorite type of matchup. I just again don't know how it would be to watch. But we know what he's doing here. I don't have to do crap. I got the extended lances. It's just a question of what kind of excuse or complaint he's going to have for me shooting outside of sensor range. Since he has no lances or sensors of his own, so this is going to be pretty straightforward. And beacons to kind of force a response. Yeah, hell, I could just launch a beacon right now. It is kind of tempting. I'll wait a little bit longer. Actually, we got stasis bombs, so
We have sighted an enemy ship.
let's see. I won't even stick a beacon on you, because then I could just shoot at a target. And he did lock on, so
Retro's activated.
we're gonna make this hurt. Because like I said, everything else is already slowed down, so that's fine there. That's simple. And like I said, I can force engagement.
Your orders.
And what was that? That was him shooting at me, okay. I was wondering about that. And he did lock on. I already launched bombers, so your Siege or your Slanesh favor is not going to do crap here.
Command me.
And there's our bombers there, doing its work. So I think you're pretty much dead, alas. Although I did lose my generator. That's kind of felt.
For the dark gods.
That is really damn felt right there.
Tremble, for
But I do
chaos
have two
comes.
Slaneshes. Let's see. I in fact have 4 stasis bombs, so dealing with that despoiler is not a problem at all.
Ready,
Although I
forward.
do have to stop hitting burn retros as my means to turn off my boosters. That's kind of what I've been doing more often than not. And it's probably a bad habit I should not be doing, is using burn retros to turn off my boosters in my high energy turn.
Comes.
It makes a nice simple button, or key, mind you, and I figured he was like all Slanesh or something.
To kill.
But we got more stasis bombs. I'm not even sticking beacons on you, so you're getting what you want, buddy. Although I do have auger disruptors, this is going to suck for him.
Command me.
Although I gotta get another auger disruptor ready,
Retro's activated.
because I am identified, so I need that second auger disruptor to help in this regard.
Set agents to full ahead.
So let's correct this wrong quickly.
We'll follow your command for now.
So now he can't shoot for about 25 seconds. I just gotta make sure I'm hitting the target I want. So yeah, probably a person coming back, well, after, well, he's got a level 10 fleet. I don't know, I don't remember the player name, that's all I'm saying, so I don't know where his experience comes from there, but I guess that's game there, unfortunately. I had no more auger disruptors, so he could have continued fighting. What would have really sucked is maybe I denied his bombers, and then he's stuck for almost a minute not being able to do any damage. It is kind of cruel though. I do feel bad for him, but at the same time, that's an easy demonstration of what I mean. He may rage at the beacons all he wants, but at the end of the day, he kind of needs them. Especially if he's relying on bombers, most importantly. Hell, I could, to an extent, just have a frigate kind of spot for me for my lances, but he needs constant vision with his bombers the entire way through if he's going to commit to that route. So I would argue he needs the beacons more than I would. I would argue anyway. It's still damn useful nonetheless, especially for sticking the beacon on the shield there, or once the shields are down, but I still feel for him, I'm not going to lie.